There's a moment before every argument, a pause so brief that most people never notice it. It's the split second before you speak, before you defend yourself, before you justify your existence. In that moment, your mind races. You feel the heat rising in your chest, the pulse of anger, the burning need to say something, anything. Because if you don't speak, you'll lose. If you don't respond, you'll look weak. If you stay silent, they'll walk over you. At least, that's what the world has taught you to believe. But what if I told you that truth is the opposite? That the moment you feel the desperate need to react, you've already surrendered control. Because silence isn't weakness, it's power. We live in a time where everyone is shouting, everyone has an opinion, a hot take, a reaction. Social media has turned communication into combat, a constant war of words where victory isn't achieved through truth, but through volume. And yet, if you've ever been in a room with someone truly powerful, someone calm, composed, unshaken, you know something most people don't. The person who doesn't need to speak controls those who do. Nietzsche understood this long before the noise of modern life existed. He looked at the world and saw a pattern humans drowning in their own chatter, confusing noise with meaning, reaction with strength. He called it a symptom of the herd, a collective sickness of needing to be seen, heard, and validated. For Nietzsche, the Übermensch, the higher human, wasn't the one who shouted the loudest, but the one who could bear silence. Because silence requires strength. It's easy to speak, to react, to justify, to explain. It's much harder to sit in the storm of misunderstanding and stay quiet. Think about the last time you were misunderstood, when someone twisted your words, questioned your motives, or insulted you. You wanted to defend yourself, didn't you? You wanted to explain, to make them see your truth. But that urge, that uncontrollable need to be understood, isn't strength, it's dependency. It's the fear of being unseen. The wise don't chase understanding, they embody it. The greatest minds didn't win their battles through speech. They waited, they listened, they observed human nature until it revealed itself. Because the truth has a way of speaking louder than any voice, especially when spoken through restraint. But let's be honest, silence terrifies most people. A pause in a conversation feels unbearable. A lack of response feels like rejection, and being ignored feels like death. Why? Because we've built our entire sense of worth on being acknowledged. We've mistaken attention for existence. If people stop listening, we fear we'll disappear. That's why silence feels like drowning. Because in the quiet, we come face to face with ourselves, and for many, that's unbearable. The 20th century theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer once said, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil." He wasn't advocating for passivity. He was warning us that silence is only powerful when chosen deliberately, when it is not born of fear, but of control. There is a difference between being silenced and choosing silence. The first is submission, the second is mastery. Look at the world today. People rush to comment on everything, to post, to respond, to matter. We are taught that speaking equals relevance, that opinion equals identity. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't speak to share ideas. They speak to escape themselves. Words become a shield, a way to avoid silence, because silence exposes what's real. When you stop talking, you can finally hear the noise inside your own head, and for many, that's a sound they've spent their entire lives running from. Machiavelli, in The Prince, warned rulers about the danger of speaking too freely. He knew that the more words you offer, the more weapons you give your enemies to use against you. Power, he wrote, belongs to those who reveal little, who maintain mystery, because the unknown commands respect. That principle hasn't changed. The ones who speak less, who let their actions, their silence, and their composure speak for them, they are the ones who unsettle others. Imagine two people in a confrontation. One reacts instantly, throwing words like arrows, emotional, loud, impulsive. The other stands still, watching, silent. Who do you think holds power? The one who shouts may seem dominant, but their emotions have betrayed them. They've lost control. Meanwhile, the one who remains calm, who waits, forces the other to reveal their weakness. Silence is a psychological weapon. It turns noise into confession. The more someone talks, the more they expose themselves. There's a story about a samurai who was insulted by a peasant. The peasant screamed, cursed, and spat at him. But the samurai didn't respond. He simply walked away. When asked why, the samurai said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not take it, to whom does it belong?" That's the essence of silence. When you refuse to react, you refuse to accept the poison of others. But silence isn't only power over others, it's power over yourself. Because if you cannot endure your own silence, you are not free. You are addicted to noise. Try this. Sit in absolute silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no distraction. Just you and your thoughts. You'll notice how quickly the mind starts to panic. It will throw thoughts at you like bait. Memories, worries, to-do lists, anything to fill the void. That's not coincidence, that's withdrawal. You're detoxing from mental noise. And if you can endure that discomfort long enough, something strange happens. The chaos begins to fade, and in its place, you find something rare clarity. Nietzsche believed that silence was the breeding ground of strength, because silence forces confrontation, not with others, but with yourself. It's where you meet your demons, where you discover which voices in your head are truly yours, and which were planted there by the world. He once wrote, "A man's maturity consists in having found again the seriousness one had as a child at play." That seriousness, that unshakable focus is born in silence. It's the soil where authenticity grows. But there's a danger silence can also destroy you if you use it to hide, to avoid, rather than to transcend, to retreat into apathy, rather than mastery. The line between powerful silence and fearful silence is thin, and only self-awareness can tell the difference. The strong use silence as a weapon, the weak use it as a cage. Ask yourself, when you go quiet, is it because you've risen above the noise, or because you've surrendered to it? In truth, the world doesn't fear silence. It fears what silence reveals. Because silence strips away illusion. It reveals who truly controls the room, who acts and who reacts, who speaks because they must, and who speaks because they choose to. So the next time you're drawn into an argument or pause, feel that rising urge to defend, to explain, to justify, and instead of reacting, wait. Let the silence expand. Let it make them uncomfortable. Let it make you uncomfortable. Because what survives that silence is truth. The world believes that power is loud, that it shouts, commands, and conquers. But the deepest kind of power makes no sound at all. It listens, it watches, it waits. And when it finally speaks, the world listens. So I'll leave you with a question. Do you control your silence, or does your silence control you? Because in the end, the one who can sit in silence without breaking, without explaining, without needing to be understood, is already free. Thank you for watching.